Hello, everyone. Good evening. You are welcome to our second week of online facilitation. I hope we had a good day, and I want to welcome every one of you that have already joined the class session this afternoon. I want to say welcome to you, and I appreciate your time that you have spare out to attend this class. And this is NSC 512, Occupational Health Nursing. And in today's class, we'll be looking at Module 2, Part 1. And in Module 2, Part 1, we'll basically cover two sessions, which is the overview of occupational health and occupational health diseases. Those are the two things that we will basically be looking at this afternoon for the next few minutes that we will be discussing together. And quickly, before we dive deep into the lesson, let me quickly share with you the learning outcome or the learning goals of this module. So I have on the screen learning objectives for Unit 1 and 2 of Module 2. Like I said Module 1 was covered last week, and we are on the second week, and we are looking at Module 2. And under Module 2, we have 6 units. But today we'll basically be looking or covering 2 units. Unit 1 says that an overview of occupational health problems, and Unit 2 says occupational disease. Occupational disease. So that is the two topic we will be discussing. I will be facilitating you on this afternoon. And the learning objective for these 2 units are our learner should be able to explain the meaning of occupational health problems and diseases, list the different types of occupational health problems, and describe the types of occupational diseases you know and their predisposing factors. Learners should also be able to explain how working conditions can contribute to employees' increased risk for health problems. Learners should also be able to explain the preventive measures to health problems, discuss the management of the common health problems in the work environment, describe the prevention and control of occupational health. Those are the learning goals for the 2 units under Module 2 that we'll be discussing this afternoon. So you've heard about occupational health problems. So what comes to your mind when you hear about occupational health problems? What runs in your mind? I would like to share your thoughts. Remember, this is class, and like I said in our first meeting, this is a student-centered learning, not teacher-centered learning. As such, learners are expected to talk back to me, to give me their feedback, because instructional videos and course materials has earlier been posted to you. So you are expected to have go through this lesson, and we come to class to discuss it. So I crave for your contribution. I welcome you to share your thoughts with me on the meaning of occupational health problems. What comes to your mind when you hear that word? I can see Aliu, I can see Adedoyin, Ibukun, Hannah, I can see Kia, Esther. So would you like to share with me your thoughts or your understanding of the word occupational health problems? Okay. Okay.
Hey. Good evening, ma. Good evening.
Occupational health problems simply means that an accident or other form of hazard sustained from the work environment in the attempt to perform your duty, in the attempt to prepare or perform or carry out your duty as an employee. And we also have different types of occupational health problems. Yeah, there are companies or there are types of work that you do that you are prone to have lung disease problems or diseases such as lung cancer, pneumococcus, and occupational asthma. We also have traumatic death as a result, do occur as a result of what about amputation? Amputation is another form of occupational health problems. Fractures, high loss, hair-induced hearing loss, cardiovascular disease, musculoskeletal injury, such as back pain, injury, neck injury, and so on and so forth. And we understand that these are work-related problems, work-related health problems that many have encountered in the course or during the period that they are working in their different organizations. And this, in occupational health, we call it occupational health problem. Anything that any health problem or challenges that you encounter in your workplace is known as occupational health problems. So the next point we want to look at is different industries and the problems that is associated to them. Majority of the people working in industries face or encounter various occupational health problems. That is very true. And these problems affect their productivity. And not only that it affects their productivity, but their lifespan as well. Their lifespan.
I know somebody could do that.
Okay, so as I was saying that different industries have different health problems that are associated to them. And I'm going to mention a few of these health problems that are associated to different industries. We have, and I've also established that these problems include the social and the environmental pollution, the air pollution, the noise pollution, and chemical pollution. So when we say social and environmental pollution, what do we mean? Or what do you understand by that? So it simply means that there is a high concentration of population in the urban centers. That is, many are migrating. When a lot of people migrated to the urban area, then it becomes congested, and there is a lot of people living in an urban area, making it a social or environmental pollution due to overcrowding. When we say air pollution, what does it mean? This simply means that the air in the community or in the society is contaminated. It's contaminated as a result of industry. As a result of industry, yeah, we see a lot of industries are being situated or created. And so because of that, there is increase, because of increase in industrialization, air pollution also is a problem. What about noise pollution? It is a form of energy that is transmitted through the air as waves. So everything still boils down to this industry. You see some industry, the kind of noise that is generated by the machine or the engines that are used or the generators that they use affects the air of many employees that are working in that department of either production and so on and so forth, or even maintenance sometimes. Traumatic injuries. So you have injuries that is injuries that affect the musculoskeletal area. We have amputation. A lot of workers have lost their hands, their toes, their fingers, even their legs, sometimes their arms, in the course of discharging their duty at job places. Even some have gotten bruises, lacerations of different degrees in the course of working. And it is important that monitoring and supervision is enforced so as to prevent this problem. Don't forget, we are on Unit 1 of Module 2, which is occupational health problems. And what are the factors that contribute to health problems at work? So we are going to look at, I think, basically 4 factors that may contribute. So, like I said, when learners are not responding in class, the class session becomes passive. And this is supposed not to be a passive class, because this is not a lecturing kind of work. It's not a lecturing session. It is supposed to be a facilitation where we discuss, where we interact together and share ideas together on the topic. But when you are not talking back to me, you force me to turn this class session into more of a teaching session. So once again, I want to encourage us to please always prepare for the class session. Go through the instructional video that has been earlier pasted on your page. Go through your course materials and get yourself ready for the facilitation so you don't leave your facilitator end up teaching you or lecturing you, which is not the focus or the aim for this session. So who is going to share with us or share his or her thoughts on the factors that predispose workers to occupational health? Anyone who wants to try? Anyone who wants to try? Okay. Basically, we have four factors that may contribute to health problems of workers. We have the biophysical factor, the psychological factor, the social factor. We also have the social factor as well as behavioral factor. For now, the behavioral factor, that is the behavior of the workers, also can dispose them, or is a factor, or is a factor to sustaining occupational outcome. Behavior or behavioral, what does it mean? It can be a kind of a lifestyle habit. Maybe you, for instance, now, there are some that they've been operating in a session from morning, maybe they reported to work like 7, and from that 7, they work till around 5. And instead of them to go home, probably go and take some good rest, as in refresh themselves, take a shower, take their meal, and rest in preparation for the next day job. No, they will engage themselves in other activities, so they don't have time to rest. So the body is not actually retired to be able to refire the second day for the activities. Smoking is another behavioral factor. Use of drugs and alcohol, poor diet, poor nutrition, all these, lack of exercise, all these influences or are predisposing or factors under behavioral factors to occupational health problems. So when we say social factor, social factor has to do with your environment, which can either be positive or negative. The attitude towards work. A lot of people get influenced from their environment, maybe as a result of racial that is going on in your environment where you work. Maybe there is tension, maybe there is a kind of unfriendly environment. All this affect the productivity of an individual working in a company. So as much as possible, the environment also can influence positively or negatively to the health problem that an employee will sustain while working in an organization. We also said psychological problems or anxiety or stress, all these, you've accumulated so many stress and you're still working. And aside that, there are individuals that if they don't have a good working relationship with their colleagues, it pains them. Or if there is no intrapersonal relationship between the boss and the junior staff, or junior staff, the manager, the supervisor, and so on and so forth. It can make an employer, and it can make an employee, it can drive an employee crazy and make the person to misbehave, because the person is not psychologically balanced. So he's tense, he's not sure what the supervisor is going to say, he's not sure what this person is going to call him or her, and so on and so forth. And all these are factors that affect the health problems an individual can come down with from job places. So those are basically the 4 factors that influence occupational health problems. We've seen all these factors. How can it be prevented? This is very, very important, because prevention is better than cure. And an ounce of prevention is better than treating a case that is now at hand. It's worth more, a lot, than now treating a case that you allow carelessly to happen. So the 2 or major ways by which you can prevent it is pre-employment medical examination. When you say pre-employment medical examination, what do we understand by that? During pre-employment medical examination, it helps employers to know your medical status. And when your medical status is known, it guides the employers to know where to place you in terms of unit. Someone who is having cardiovascular problem on employment, as in at the beginning of them employing you, they know basically that you will be on some medications which might be sedative. It will be wrong of that company or that industry to put you under production, or to put you to operate a machine. No. So the medical condition helps employers to know how to place their employee. What about the next one that we want to look at in prevention is periodic medical examination. When we say periodic medical examination, where you send out your staff, or where an organization, a company, or an institution sends staff to check for their health every 3 months or every 6 months. In this way, you'll be able to know if that staff of yours is deteriorating or is doing better. And the essence of this information is to be able to help this employee, so that by the time he finish work or he retire, he does not lose his or her health. Or while still in his productive life, he does not become sick. So they will have to compare what was your pre-medical record, your post, and another factor for another ways to prevent occupational health problems is provision of safety measures. So it's important that PPE is provided for staff, so as to prevent them from being exposed. So those are the preventive measures so far that we are going to cover under Unit 1, which is the overview of occupational health problems. So the next item we want to look at is occupational health disease. And let me ask, what comes to your mind when you hear the word occupational health disease? What stood out to you? For me, let me share your thoughts for those of us that are in class. Let me share your thoughts. Let's hear your idea, your thoughts, your understanding on occupational health disease. Occupational health disease. What do you understand? What comes to your mind? What thoughts run through your mind when you hear the word occupational health disease? Okay. Okay. The word occupational health disease, it's simply a condition that arises from work or injury that, well, let me not say injury, or let me say disease, okay, or sickness, or health-related issues as a result of exposure to your work. And it can be classified into pretty basically the physical, the mental, and the social well-being of a person. You know, when your job, anything you do to earn a living, compromises your physical, your mental, and your social well-being, then we say, hey, this person is having health, occupational health disease. And what are those diseases that can think of from these three concepts of health and well-being that I've just itemized? You have, occupational disease basically have been classified under respiratory disease. Any disease that affects any work that you do that predispose you to respiratory challenges, then you have occupational health, you have respiratory disease problem. Then we have the liver, the cardiovascular system, the gastrointestinal system, the urinary system, the dermatological system, the musculoskeletal system. So all these systems are areas or systems that can be affected due to the job or as a result of job exposure that is compromised of this system. Don't forget that, it's very important. And there are a lot of things that predispose individuals to occupational disease. Lack of safety and protective equipment for the employers, by the employers to the worker is one factor. Non-compliance is also of the use of this safety. It's interesting that in occupational health, it is not one-sided. The employers has their role, as well as the employees also has their roles to play. So if the employers are playing their roles by providing a safety environment, providing a protective equipment for employees, it is expected that the employees also use those safety materials and comply to the rules and regulations guiding them. So hygiene is another factor. If there is a poor personal hygiene in the environment or by the individual can also predispose an employee to any of the earlier mentioned occupational health disease. Lack of periodic medical investigation of the workers to identify those likely or already developing field health. I said, the essence of having a pre-medical checkup is to have your baseline record. As an employer, I want to know what your medical record is as at when I employed you. And periodically, I want you to do a test or investigation to show me if your health is not being compromised. If it is, then to replace you in another unit where your health will not be compromised. And lastly, exposure to chemical agents, and not only that, injecting them another factor that contributes as well to that predispose an employee to occupational health disease. What are the ways to discover occupational diseases? One, through biological monitoring, through epidemiological methods, and environmental measures. When we say biological monitoring, what do we actually mean? No, as I mentioned earlier, it is a situation of having a baseline data of your employees prior to employment, and in order to prevent or to take measures on how to help the person. What about epidemiology? Yes. It's another method in which we study the determinants and the distribution of diseases among workers. We want to know, why are they having this disease? Is there a non-occupational work-related disease among the workers? No. How is it being distributed? No. And the environment is another issue, another measure. No. To help detect hazard in the environment, we want to find out the occurrences of disease. Are there diseases that is going on in this environment? We want to identify them early in order to reduce the effect, the adverse effect of such danger or that disease. We also have strategies for prevention of occupational diseases. Basically, we have elimination of hazardous agents in the work environment, suitable training for all workers, administrative control, provision of personal protective equipment, maintenance system to track hazard and correction, emergency preparation. In conclusion, for today's teaching, and I will call it teaching, this is not facilitation for today. I'm hopeful the next week it will be a facilitation by having your input and you being fully involved in it. So we've looked at every occupation has its own risk and hazard. That is not what we can dispute. And as a result of that, strict compliance to preventive measure, which could be the proper use of safety devices, avoidance of unsafe practices, frequent medical assessment, and early treatment to identify health problems are very necessary. So I want to welcome questions if you do have any to for me this afternoon. Is there question? Are there areas you want to throw in more light? Hello, everyone. Okay, I can see no one wants to talk. It's fine. So this is where we are going to end it today. Once again, thank you for attending the class passively. Yes. I'm hoping that next week will be better than this week. You will come prepared that we may have an active interaction and facilitation. So see you next week, same time, same day. God bless.